Noms have certainly taken the league by storm in their respective divisions. They sit atop them. Dominique Foxworth here with us. What's going on?
Just nothing much. Happy to be here. Is that a sweater or an ascot? What we got going on there? It's beautiful.
No. That's just a mock. It's freezing. It's cold as hell here in Houston. Plus I'm sick and under the weather. I said, to hell with the tie, y'all. I'm gonna cover up this neck with my turtleneck. Put that under my shirt. And plus, I'm coming back to New York. So you talking about it being even colder there, from what I hear? Hell no, I wasn't gonna be cold. I'm warm.
I just put on a suit.
I got on long johns too. I got on long johns too. Yes, I do.
In Houston.
And thermal socks. Yes, I do.
Get ready for
Long Johns
in Houston.
Stephen A., get ready for New York City then.
Whatever happened to the thermals?
Huh?
People don't break them out enough anymore.
The thermals?
Man,
I
Max,
still wear thermals.
do y'all
Topic
know
of the
my
day,
Dominique?
thermals.
Do you know my
Thermals
only complaint?
overrated.
You know my only complaint. You know how thick those Uggs are? The Uggs,
Yeah.
the boots and stuff like that. I wish they made long johns like that. I'd buy them today.
You just want fur-lined leggings custom made for Stephen A.
I want to be warm. I believe in being warm.
Oh my goodness.
I'd wear it.
Let's get
I
focused
wear that too,
here.
Max.
No
I
doubt.
show up on the air and wear that, Max.
I'm sorry, Molly. I started this and I
Just so
apologize.
I want to see Max and
apologize.
Stephen A. in
Rolling in
onesies.
the
Sure,
full-length goose
maybe
every day?
Christmas Day for our morning
I'm
show.
sorry.
It'll be so
Molly,
touching.
I'm gonna be wearing my onesie over the weekend watching the football games. I'll be walking around my crib in a
happiest
onesie,
man
and I hope
watching
it's made of
football.
Uggs.
Oh my
Damn right.
goodness. Oh, I hope your sister
Put a
somebody gets
Christmas
a
hat
shot
on.
of that. All right, guys. But I thought you were the Grinch. All right, who's got a better shot at being
That too.
the face of the league, Stephen A.? Is it Deshaun or Lamar?
For me, it's Deshaun. I know how electrifying Lamar Jackson has been, and I'll leave that to others to discuss. But I look at Deshaun Watson as being somebody who's capable of doing anything that we've seen anybody else do. I know that Deshaun Watson can run with the football. The difference is he's a considerably better passer than Lamar Jackson. He's completed 70% of his passes. He's got 18 touchdowns and 5 interceptions on the season. Deshaun Watson is a winner. The brother is special. I'm not taking anything away from Lamar Jackson because I'm so proud of him and how he has looked and how much he has improved. The coaching of John Harbaugh is to be recognized in all of this as well, who I consider to be better than Bill O'Brien, by the way. But Deshaun Watson is that dude. I believe, and I've been on the record, Max, as saying to you, if you recall, I think he's the lone individual that has the potential to be just as good as Patrick Mahomes.
You
I
made
think
the point
Deshaun
right there.
Watson is
The
that
difference-
legit.
The difference is the coach. I think Lamar Jackson has a better chance. I think that Patrick Mahomes is probably more likely than anybody, but Lamar Jackson has a better chance becoming the face of the league because he is still very young. He can improve at passing, but you become the face of the league when everybody's watching, when there's no other games on TV but a few. And Lamar Jackson, that's the playoffs. And Lamar Jackson, in my mind, because of that coaching staff and that well-built organization, is more likely to have success in the playoffs. I know things fell apart for them in the playoffs last year, but he is more likely, because I believe in Harbaugh and that staff, for him to have continued success and to be in the playoffs year after year and maybe win a couple games and potentially make it to a championship game. And that's when you become the face of the league. You don't become the face of the league in the regular season. Although plays like this will be memorable and we'll love it and we'll talk about both of them making electrifying plays. But I think the difference is Lamar Jackson and the Ravens are set up for long-term success in the playoffs in the way that I don't believe that Deshaun Watson is. And if he does have success in the playoffs, it'll be all because of him, and he deserves all of that credit because I think Bill O'Brien, head coach / GM, is letting them down for the long-term future of this organization and that player. And that's why, while both of them, it's going to be a hard chance for them to get there, Lamar Jackson is a better chance of being face of the league because he'll be playing deep into December.
I like the coach's point, although Bill O'Brien, I was killing him too a couple of years ago and early in the year, but I think it's kind of hard to be killing him now, 6-3, and after the way they finished up. And a lot of that, of course, is Deshaun Watson, which is why the answer is, in fact, Deshaun Watson. You know, remember when it was, who's going to be the face of the league, Dak or Wentz? We're not talking about that. Or maybe throw Goff in. We're not talking about that anymore. Is it going to be Watson or Lamar Jackson? The answer is Patrick Mahomes, just in case anyone wants. But let's take Mahomes out of this. Don't ever bet against Deshaun Watson. And I thought that since the loss to Alabama in the national title game, because I saw the best player on the field by far, the guy I'm like, that guy, the guy who made it a competitive game, in fact, in spite of the fact he's on the worst team, was Deshaun Watson. Then he had that experience. That's why I picked him to win in the rematch. says, well, now he's experienced, and you have Deshaun Watson. By hook or by crook, he's going to find a way to get it done. He is the truth. It's why Dabo said about him, he's going to be the Michael Jordan of the NFL. Even though, again, I think that's Mahomes. But I know what he means. You know who I've mentioned about Dak Prescott. He reminds me of Russell Wilson and Tom Brady. Game managers, big on third down, it could kind of be a self-fulfilling prophecy. Over time, they could get more responsibility and become a Hall of Fame quarterback. You know who Deshaun Watson reminds me of in the way he has that magic pixie dust late in games and stuff? Joe Montana. Joe Montana was a guy, he wasn't the most skillful guy in the league. He didn't have the best arm. He was playing for a great coach, Dominique.
Yeah, I was going to keep making my point.
I get it. Walsh was the Belichick of his era. I get that. But there was something about, and Steve Young was my favorite quarterback, maybe ever, and yet there was something about Montana. He's still not out of that GOAT conversation.
Yeah.
And Deshaun Watson has that Joe Montana stuff.
Oh, it's your show, sir. Go ahead. Go right ahead.
I will tell you this, and I want y'all, and I'm throwing this out there just as an opinion, but I'm not sure about it. I wanted to share it with both of y'all and get y'all feeling about this. When you remember, if you recall earlier this season when a reporter asked Deshaun Watson that question and he just broke down what the play was, what the play was supposed to be, who you were supposed to be targeting, what your audibles entailed, he was just breaking this down. One of the reasons I thought about that was because as great as Deshaun Watson is as a talent, Dabo Swinney never failed to remind me personally of how smart this dude is and how much of a natural, bona fide quarterback he is. Right. When I look at Lamar Jackson, I'm not questioning, of course, his intelligence by any stretch of the imagination. But I do think you look at him and you marvel at his athletic ability. I think you marvel at everything about Deshaun Watson.
Yeah. So
you marvel at his athletic ability. You marvel at his throwing ability. And you marvel at his leadership ability and his intellect behind center. Those are the kind of things that I'm talking about when I say Deshaun Watson appears to be on a different level. Right. How do you feel about what I just said, Dominique?
So, I mean, I can speak to that easily. Deshaun Watson is on a different level as a bunch of players in his athleticism and the way that he can read a defense. But Lamar Jackson was running NFL-style plays in college. Lamar Jackson does not make bad reads. Lamar Jackson is a very smart player. Where he has his shortcomings is with accuracy. So I think Lamar Jackson can do the same things. He can break down coverages for reporters just as impressively as Deshaun Watson can. But his passes are not nearly as accurate consistently. That's where the difference is. And you said that Joe Montana had something special. The something special he had was the father of modern NFL offenses. Like Bill Walsh, every offense is a descendant of Bill Walsh's right now.
Dominique,
he also had the greatest receiver of all time and multiple Hall of Famers on defense.
So did Steve Young.
And Steve Young was great too.
Steve Young had more talent than Joe Montana, but Joe Montana went 4-0 in Super Bowls, 13 TDs, no interceptions. Like there was something different.
I know. No one had caught up to the offense that they were running. That's what it was.
Deshaun Watson has some magic stuff in him, and guys like Lamar Jackson is a very likable personality and everything, but Deshaun Watson's command as a leader, even to Stephen A's point about the way he explained the play, it wasn't to clown the reporter. He was, even in that situation, he had total command and explained it to everyone.
And it was charismatic.
Yes, he has
okay,
it.
but at the end of the day,
has all of that too.
At the end of the day, we're talking about this because they're playing on Sunday.
Right.
So who do you expect to show out in Baltimore?
They're both playing against mediocre to below average defenses, so I think they'll both show out. But I think the Ravens win, especially in Baltimore. And with Lamar Jackson, their offense scores on more than 50% of their drives, and I don't think they can do that.
Stephen A., who you got?
I agree. I agree. I'm going to go with the Ravens. I don't consider their defense mediocre. It's not exceptional, but it's not mediocre. And just to get back, just for clarification purposes, I want to make sure everybody understands. I asked Dominique that question. I'm not questioning the intellect of Lamar Jackson by any stretch of the imagination. I just think it's important. I just thought it was important for a former football player to break down the difference between the two in terms of highlight. Because sometimes we see inaccuracy, and we don't know what else we're seeing when we see the inaccuracy. That's why I asked Dominique that question.
Real quick, it's not to take a shot at Lamar's leadership or anything. What I'm saying about Deshaun is it's extra. You could have that, but Deshaun has that plus.